check the chat. Eric, check the chat.
Man, the Discord will be so mad. It'll be a time now.
What is up, everybody, and welcome into the Losers Lounge.
What do we do? Boo.
What do we do? Look, I have it. I forgot the old days.
Unbelievable.
We did this.
Unbelievable.
I forgot what it was like. It's actually very believable. It's extremely believable.
It's like more believable than I want it to be.
It definitely is. Guys, it's a Saturday night Losers Lounge. I know you're kind of feeling the pits right now. It's snowy outside, but we're going to have fun, I promise. In fact, I just put out an invite into the DNVR Discord, the DNVR Lounge. It's open. It's like Festivus. You could come. You can air your grievances. You could complain if you want to come on the show. You know, hopefully you're a DNVR member right now. If we don't get anybody else, maybe we'll put it out. But if you want to come on and let us know what you're seeing, come talk to us. Come hang with us. We've only the three of us tonight.
Come say it to my face.
Come say it to Eric's face. You want to talk some trash? Bring that in here. So, guys, we are, of course, as always, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. You can use promo code DNVR when you sign up and lose money along with us because this game did not go as we hoped. Actually, I think we did okay. I think we split.
My bets were fantastic.
Your bets were. Dev, how were your bets?
They were meh. It was a meh type of night. The Nuggets didn't show up. It's tough if a team doesn't show up.
It is tough.
It's so true, man. They did not. So, of course, my cast of characters with me, the trio, the three-man weave. I've got D-Line Co-up here in the top this time.
Let's go, baby. You got to take my stone cold, ultra mega, unrustable lock every time. MPJ threes. What did I say? Do people want money? Yes or no? I mean, it's
the
very
funny
simple.
thing. The funny thing about MPJ, we're going to talk about him obviously quite a bit tonight. But the funny thing about him is, you get like he had a terrible night, and then it was like a 3-minute window, and he gets all 14 of his points immediately. That's what kind of scorer he is. And you're like, oh, all right, that was cool. And then, of course, down below, we got Duvalier, Superstar Johnson.
Just a rough night overall. Like, I mean, it was the second night of a back-to-back. But the Nuggets have been a team that has showed everybody that they're able to compete and show up in those type of games. So I just kind of expected them to bounce back, and they just didn't. They did not.
They did not. I did think they looked great again, though. 2 nights in a row, they looked fantastic in their white uniforms. But again, once again, that was it. It stopped right there. But guess what, guys? We do have our first participants hopping in here, and of course, the big fella, first guy up, the big fella, my guy Noah Tucker, a guy who understands the inconveniences of tall life. How you doing, Noah?
What's going on, guys? I'm doing good. How about you?
We're terrible.
We're depressed.
Noah, before we get started, are you going to try to like hyping us, or are you going to just tell us what you got, what you see?
I'm gonna keep a level head about things. Okay. I think you know. Let me grab some headphones. You
don't need them. You don't need them.
Can you hear me well? Okay.
Yeah, I hear you great. StreamYard really upped their game for us. So yeah, now you can do without headphones. Look at Dev.
Cool. Hey, there you go. I gotta say, Dev, I love when you rock the polo, man. Not a lot of people understand the polo swag, but you got it on point.
See, now, Ray, I mean, Noah, you're my guy.
Noah, do you have anything to say about my personal swag?
Eric, it's the same pretty much every show.
Hell
it's
yeah,
the cap.
It's consistency. Jamal Murray could learn a little bit from me.
Not bomber, you know. So.
I'm not even going to ask about mine, but I am going to ask about the Nuggets, man. So I always start off, Noah, you know, you've been a friend of the show for as long as anyone. Biggest takeaway from this game, like what's your overarching takeaway?
For me, like watching it, I just could not handle the fact that guys were not attacking the rim. I mean, we had great shooting tonight from Michael Porter Jr., from Will Barton, but when Jamal's not getting it going, he tried to get inside. They weren't getting a lot of calls, but I mean, I don't think Kristaps and their interior guys, especially when KP's out the game, are that much of a detractor from the rim. I mean, Jokic is obviously going to get inside, but everyone else, got to kind of get to the charity stripe or get inside.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was definitely part of it. I mean, Jamal, to me, if we want to start somewhere, the first takeaway for me is Jamal. And look, guys have bad nights. I mean, it happens. It happens in the NBA. Guys go through slumps. We've suffered through, as a fan base, a lot of emotional funks, as we used to call them with Jokic, where it could be 4 or 5 games in a row. He's such a talent that he could have a bad game and still put up near triple-double. Like Jokic's bad games are often like 10, 7, and 6 or something, like back in the day. But tonight, Jamal Murray, and really the last 2 games, it almost looks like something's up with him. Almost like there's a cloud hanging over him personally.
Yes.
Do you see this at all, Eric?
I completely agree with this. We were talking about this last night. Like, he looks emotionally down. Like, there's something.
He's in an emotional funk.
There is, man. There's like something up with him. It's like it's more than just. I mean, obviously the legs are always coming to play, but he just doesn't. He doesn't seem engaged for whatever reason. So, and some of those images that of him coming out of the player availability, it's like he just looked like miserable. So I don't know what his deal is.
Dev, we read body language a lot. Are we playing too much body language doctor here?
Nah, I don't think so. There's clearly something going on with him, and he doesn't address it. So you kind of have to guess what's going on just because he hasn't talked about it. But just to go back to Noah's point about the Nuggets not attacking, that was a bit shocking. Like, this was a game that had 87 3-pointers in the game. Like, the Nuggets shot 41 3-pointers on the second night of a back-to-back. You would anticipate for them to try to get inside and to slow the game down or to just use their advantages. This was a game that Boban did not play in. So you would assume that Jokic would get in the post and they would attack and just go inside. Also, they had Paul Millsap play alongside Jokic. So that's a bigger lineup. So you also would think that the Mavericks would have 2 guys that tries to match him. They didn't. They stuck with what their game plan was. They was going to get a lot of 3-pointers up, and they kind of forced the Nuggets into a pace where the Nuggets are also trying to match everything with 3-pointers, and then they went down big, so it made it easier for them to continue to shoot. So I agree with what Noah said as far as the Nuggets need to attack, and they didn't do that tonight.
Yeah. Why do you feel like that was? Because it's not like they have rim protectors out there, Noah. I mean, we're talking about Maxi Kleber. We're talking about Dwight Powell. I mean, it's not exactly like they're an intimidating bunch.
I'm not sure if it's the fact that guys want to, like Dev said, keep pace with what the Mavericks are doing. Obviously, they're a lot of passing, 1, 2, 3 passes. With the Nuggets, you're getting, the ball into the post to Jokic, and then guys are getting kickouts from Jokic and wanting to probably hit that big shot, get him the assist. 1 or 2 extra passes. It looked like they were going to get those tonight when Facu was on the floor. They were swinging the ball, but then they were just letting closeouts affect them. I saw a couple shots where Jamal Murray, especially, the closeout wasn't even to him, and he was dribbling and then moving over and taking the shot, never really getting his feet set when he probably would have had a better attempt on the first shot.
Yeah. There's always a lot of that, especially with Murray. I feel like he's really strange with his shot readiness, because I think he is first and foremost, weirdly enough, Noah, I think he's more of an attacker than a shooter, because so many times he comes off of those screens and it's like he comes off looking to go and then he's like, oh, there's nobody here. Well, now he's here. There is a little bit of that to it, but also Murray just is coming off a stretch of 12, 20-point games in a row. He's coming off his best stretch, and he's down to his worst stretch.
None of this matters. It's just we just have to talk about this game because it just happened. It's this game is just a complete garbage game. It's a second night of a back-to-back. The players look tired. Nobody's hitting anything. MPJ gets in foul trouble immediately. Jamal Murray is still emotionally useless. So we're left with nothing. Malone is scrambling, putting in various lineups, trying to find something. Nothing makes any sense. And what do you draw from this game? It's just, dude, don't watch this tape. This was awful. This looks the Kristaps Porzingis suddenly is just stretched.
I hate when he takes Denver. I hate when he has Porzingis is almost there with Gobert for guys I just kind of enjoy seeing struggle.
Oh, dude.
And so him having a great night was especially rough tonight. So, you had something, Noah?
I was just gonna say what Eric was saying is they probably played every power forward that they had on the team tonight for at least a minute. It seemed like, and nothing was working. I mean, obviously some guys got more run than others. I did like when Flacco was in. It looked like they were getting a little bit better spacing, and kind of the defensive rotations were sound because he could actually get to the spots. But yeah, they were throwing everything they could at there, but KP was just hitting 35-footers from the logo. So
have you guys, who was telling me the conspiracy theory, and I think it's a great one, and it's not necessarily true in Denver, but have you noticed the logos are getting bigger and moving closer to the 3-point line so players can have logo threes? Have you noticed this? You'll start to catch it now. You'll see the little logos are moving like right outside the 3-point line. And conspiracy corner, I'm telling you, man.
It's the ones with the names on them, like the Lakers and the Blazers.
Yeah.
They must have changed that font and just extended it a couple feet.
LeBron from the logo. It's like a 23-foot.
Yeah, and that's 2 points. This is an incredible theory. I cannot believe I haven't noticed this. This is the greatest conspiracy of all time. Logo Lillard from 10 feet out.
Yeah, it's really so close in there. Okay, guys, we have to bring in now somebody who has unofficially been nominated as the leader of the Discord, the leader of the Discord, the leader of the chat, and in true and like his counterpart, his Serbian counterpart Miroslav. He is not afraid to include props. Look at the props. Bring them on in here.
Let's go. The logos are expanding.
The logos are expanding.
It's big logo. Let's go. You know what it is. You know what it is.
Ray, how would you rate this on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being like, come on, man, this you're put down the weed, and then 10 being like, yo, you're onto something here. Where would you say my theory about the logos expanding is?
I need to know how
the league wants more logo threes.
Of course they do.
The league wants more logo threes. I can't say anything else.
How accessible was this tinfoil to you? How far did you have to travel to get this tinfoil? Was it just did you just have tinfoil ready to go?
Actually, that's a great question.
I will not reveal my secret. Okay.
He did have tinfoil, right?
I guess Eric doesn't do leftovers, so
that was pristine. Unless he ironed out the
it's so true.
You never know what's around. You never know.
All right, so Ray, I have to ask you though. Oh, wow! Look at
Adam,
this.
I've seen you have guitars behind you.
Look at us, man. We can do this. We can do this, man.
Do this.
That's
next time.
So we don't have to talk about the stupid Nuggets.
That would be way better than talking about Nuggets. But Ray, I got to ask you, man, what's your biggest takeaway from this game?
I think Jamal is going to be okay. I know this sucks. You know, it's not fun to be like, oh, Jamal, not good tonight. But like, it's March.
What?
It's the middle of March, and I'm not that worried about it.
How many
did you just have to
do you have around? Yeah,
that's
more for effect. But
no, I'm with you. It's funny because when I'm hosting the show at the bar, I can't read the comments. Like I can read them during the break, but it's just there's too much going on. But with this software, the comments are in my face, and I'm looking at. I see a Fire Malone. I see a Trade Murray for Beal. Like, wow, I didn't realize what a real cesspool it can be.
Ray, as the leader of the chat, you need to get your people in line here. Come on.
I like the variety. I
do too. I'm just teasing people. Hey, man, this is a safe place. Let all your takes out. Let all your emotion out. That is definitely one of my takeaways. That's the big takeaway. Like Murray was rough tonight. You got to have. They won the last game barely. Because they got big performances from Barton and Michael Porter and Jokic. Tonight, Jokic a little bit, I think, less than that. Michael Porter a little bit less than that other than the tight window where he went off.
Jokic was only great.
Merely great.
He was only great. Like
it's funny if you look at the stats. So he had 26 points. He averages 27, so that's a little down. He had 8 rebounds. He averages 11, so that was a little down. 11 assists, so that was a little up. And then 50% shooting, that's a little down. So you're right. He was below his average tonight with a near triple-double.
He was off from 3, too. He was 1 of 5.
Yeah, he was off from 3. So
not engaged. Not engaged.
I'm just gonna cover this up. No, you can see.
Let's talk about Porter though, guys, because it was one of the bright spots tonight. And
agreed.
The down the stretch. And for starters, he was I would say out of position. And this is going to be a big stalking point, I think, for him going forward. He has said he doesn't feel like the 3 and the 4 is that different. And I think I agree with him. The difference is who's alongside him. Like, he can play the 3 alongside Jeremy Grant, and I think it's okay, whatever. That's like
it works.
It works because Jeremy Grant is also a combo, but Paul Millsap more of that traditional, I think, spot. So I think there was something. This is another data point for the Millsap, Porter, Jokic trio just not looking that great. I'm going to go to you first on this one, Noah. What do you think I'm reading too much into that?
I think he was great tonight. I don't think you're reading into it too much. I would say from my perspective, I was watching the game in the third quarter. I pulled the trigger. I bought some Pumas. It had been a while.
Wow.
It had been a while since I'd been in the gym, but the gyms are starting to open back up. I had to go get a pair of Michael Porter Jr., those rainbow Pumas, man. So I'm a big Miking from the corner, but I think he was great. And obviously, too. There you go. And obviously, one of the greatest developments we were talking about in the Discord earlier is his ability to draw fouls all of a sudden. I mean, it's not all of a sudden. We know he has that capability as a playmaker with the ball in his hands, but he was getting to the line tonight, which was positive.
Yeah,
I agree. I think he's more prone to like grow up strong to the basket. Where earlier, he I can just get a fadeaway mid-range jumper anytime I want, and I believe in that going in, and I'm sure he does. But it's a lot more. He might also score and get the foul if he's going to the basket. So
the thing that I see with that Michael Porter Jr. at the 3 or the 4 is it's about spacing on both sides of the floor. But you're not really thinking of it all the time about offense, but it's also the defense. He's getting put closer to the rim, or he's getting put in spots where he's having to have help side, or he's having to be the help side, and then that's where he's picking up the early fouls because he's not a player that's like dealing with power or anything like that. He's like a finesse guy that could step out on the perimeter. When you put him at the 4, he has to go into the block and defend, and that's like not a strong suit for him. That's where you see quick fouls. So I think that when
that's a great point.
Porter Jr. at the 4, it's not only offense and getting guys open, but it's also the defense. And that was why we don't think he had an amazing game tonight, is because of the foul trouble earlier in the game.
Absolutely.
And then he has to try to find himself later in the game. So, so it made it real tough for him. That's why I don't like him at the 4. I mean,
the foul trouble thing is really interesting, though, because you're right. I mean, this was about foul trouble, and it always sucks. Look, he finished with 4, I believe. And every coach does this. You kind of have to. But benching a player that early with that few of minutes, it always almost ensures that they're just not going to play a lot of minutes, whereas maybe you just roll with them and they foul out and you're like, well, now we don't have him or what have you. Because tonight they needed Michael Porter. I mean, just being a shorthanded, they needed guys that could score. Jamal Murray not having it as a score tonight, you needed somebody to be able to step up. And there were a lot of stretches in that first half where you're like, who am I hoping gets a bucket right now? Like, am I hoping Facu goes off? Like, Zeke, you throw Zeke out there and you're like, let's see if this works, or Jamaica.
2 Porter quarters instead of 1. I think that might be a lot.
How much do you guys think the foul trouble is from him actually moving positions tonight? I mean, I know you had a little bit of foul trouble last game, but I mean, the rotations are different. Adam probably knows, going from a bigger position to now you're switching on to different rotations, your assignment's a little different. I mean, I think that could have played a role into why he picked up 5 fouls so easily.
Yeah,
he was on Luka.
Yeah, Luka's a tough cover, and what I liked in that fourth quarter though is he actually went at Luka as well, because very few players can guard Luka Doncic. I mean, he lit up Kawhi Leonard and Paul George in the playoffs last year. Man. Michael Porter's not going to handle it. That's a mismatch. But I do like that if you have a mismatch like that, go at them. Make him guard, make him try to do things. And I thought he did a good job of that. But if we step back a little bit and say, forget this game. It's one game. It's 82. It happens. They just won 5 in a row. Whatever. But if you step back and say, the trend with Michael Porter Jr. over 6 games is when he's on the court, he is starting to score exactly like we expected him to, which is to say in crazy bunches. I'm pretty happy with the overall trajectory of Michael Porter Jr. right now, Ray.
Hard agree.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Sometimes you're just like Brendan. Sometimes I make points that are so great there is nothing anyone could possibly add to it. Hey, I forgot about the Michael Jordan.
Porter's on the up and up.
We can only detract
no
from
complaints.
Your perfect statement.
If only there was more Porter.
And I think that you can build on this. His stat lines are especially funny because tonight he had 23 points on 9 shots. Like, that's over 2 points per shot, which is
in
pretty
quick
absurd.
order. I have to imagine his points per minute are pretty high.
And he did get that little bit of a mean streak in him late, like going to the foul. I always like when a player attacks the basket and before, like as soon as the whistle blows, they don't even look at the ball. They just like start walking to the foul line as if it was like, yes, I knew this was going to happen and I did it. And now here we go. So Eric, you sound like you have some hype rating to go.
I like it. I'm ready.
Do I have hype ready to go?
You were doing this thing.
Oh,
and
Michael Porter Jr.
Let's go.
Michael Porter Jr. The Michael Porter Jr. stonk is it's Bitcoin-esque. Like that thing is just going and going and going. We're going to the moon, baby. Like he could not look better.
Let's go.
He couldn't look better. I mean, like if not for early fouls on Luka Doncic and other guys that were like sort of foul hunting, and also like. I don't really want to bring it up because it didn't actually factor in the game, but like, what in God's name was that officiating? It was like so hypercritical, and then just like they just like flipped the switch off for like huge portions of time. Where you're like, what is? Anyway,
I wasn't too bothered by it tonight.
I mean, but it didn't. I mean, it didn't ultimately factor in the game. But Michael Porter Jr. is he's fulfilling the destiny that was bestowed upon him by the gods of basketball, and I really appreciate that about him, that he's like doing what he's supposed to do, and he's I don't know, man, like he's just gonna be a really big figure in Denver sports for a long period of time, and like we're just watching it take off right now. And not that he's any better than Andre Burakovsky.
I love this. You guys don't know this is an inside grief that Eric has because Burakovsky
still about
Burakovsky. Explain it.
Lay it on us.
We just did the Goaties. The greatest of all timies. And
the greatest of a timies.
The greatest of a timies. And we had to award the best newcomer and
of 2020.
Of 2020. And unfortunately, last year we nominated Michael Porter Jr. to be the best.
I don't
newcomer
remember
of the
doing
year.
that.
I don't either, but he played like a game and a half. So he had absolutely no chance to win. Cale Makar won that prestigious award. So this year, everybody got all like super technical, and they're like, we can't give it to Michael Porter Jr. He was nominated last year, so we gave it to Andre Burakovsky, which is going to be forgotten. And you guys didn't even know who that guy is. Michael Porter Jr. This is going to be Macklemore winning over Kendrick Lamar.
If MPJ can be a rookie his second year, he can win.
That's so true.
No, thank you. That's exactly what I said. I was like, you don't understand. MTV would award the best new artist, and oftentimes it was that new artist like fifth album. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Anyway, everything's garbage, but except for MPJ, who is going to be just an incredible part of the Denver landscape for years to come. We're seeing the start of it right now, and it's just beautiful to behold, even in a garbage game like this one.
Even in a garbage game.
But I think it's good.
Go ahead.
It begs the question, like, who's number two? Is it Porter? Is it Murray? I think that it's even a question.
No.
Good?
Hey, can we get the Michael Jordan? Can we get the Jordan face on him real quick? This question. We got to Jordan face him, Kale. Come on, man. Because
you can Jordan.
I'm so high on Michael Porter. There it is. I'm as high as anybody on Michael Porter, like long term.
He's got to do it in the playoffs.
One of these dudes had 2 50-point games in a playoff setting, and in elimination, lit up Kawhi Leonard and Paul George in a game 7.
This is true.
I'm all for the Michael Porter hype. I love Michael Porter. I love watching him play.
He could do it.
No, here's the thing about Murray, and I think about this a lot. Jokic is such the golden child, and Murray is so great. Murray is the reason the Nuggets went to the Western Conference Finals last year. They're the reason they did not lose to the Utah Jazz in the first round.
Sure.
And so, like, his frustrations are he's not perfect, and like Jokic is near perfect. But if this happens, I'm telling you, you go to other subreddits or you go on Twitter, you talk to other writers, and you ask them what's going on. And this happens in every market. There's the best player, then there's the second best player, and that player sucks. And it's like, or you attack him and you bring him down. It's like, no, man, he's just not as good as the perfect one. And look, Murray, that's not. I'm not trying to excuse him tonight. 2 points in the first half. It's like all that stuff. You're like, dude, how does
I'm not saying he's there, but
right.
2 years from now, but you can still see it.
Yeah,
where like it's like a 2A, 2B.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely think a year or two from now I could see it be. I mean, you would hope that they just become a two-headed monster around Jokic that you can go for.
By the way, I just got a personal text from Blaze telling me that I can no longer slander Andre Burakovsky.
I like that you've pissed off the DNVR.
I agree.
I love it.
I don't know what kind of slander you've been laying on him, but I'm over it.
No, we have
No
Voya waiting in the wings here, and I'm going to bring him on and replace you with him here in a second.
That's cool.
But before we do, I want to ask you. You're a big guy. I see the chat. The biggest. There's one Isaiah Hartenstein on Earth, or one Isaiah Hartenstein stan on Earth, and his name is EG, and you see him in the chat here. And I'm curious your take on Hartenstein, because he didn't play tonight, and he played he's played a little bit. There's some ups and downs. So what's your Hartenstein take?
I thought the initial signing was great for us. I remember Tim Conley in the front office, they're really looking at him a couple years ago. I always get into the draft and YouTube and all that stuff. And I thought he was perfect because supposedly he had this outside shot, which none of us have seen yet. He was, a skilled big man. I thought he was all right the first couple of times he got some run, but no, I think he's pretty much unplayable at this point. He is Mason Plumlee, but with all the mistakes instead of some of the mistakes.
Wow.
He's got Salah Mejri's body, which is this turtle shell kind of skinny guy that just gets pushed around too easily. He's always on the floor. I can't stand it anymore. And I mean, if there was a player to replace on this team, it would be his minutes or the minutes that he gets here and there. And I think we would cut our losses and be rid of him. But I mean, yeah.
Poor Hartenstein. Okay. Somebody just bought you a drink here, so you officially have to punish yourself here. All right. Thanks so much, Noah. We appreciate it, man. We're gonna
see you guys.
Fun hopping on. We'll have to do this more often when we bring some of the people into the chat here.
Let's not, because it means we got blown out at home against an inferior opponent. We're all upset. And we don't want to talk about the game.
Are you calling this a gimmick that we are doing to make people have fun and forget the terrible game that we just watched? All right, Voya is on, and he is, and also Vogt. Vogt, are you cool to hang for a little bit before we get to the post game or whatever?
Yeah, what am I doing? Yeah,
it's so true. It's so true. Voya, so before we even ask you about this game, man, I watched the interview this morning. I watched part of it. I actually still have like half of it queued up because I had stuff going on this morning. But the parts I saw with Steve Hess were fantastic, man.
I mean, it was amazing. I was gonna say the weekend started really well, and then the Nuggets just laid an egg here. But it's a back-to-back, so I'm not worried. Steve Hess was great. I suggest everyone watches it because there's a lot of good stories, and I wanted to run through a wall just listening to him.
Did you do a bunch of push-ups today after talking?
I was weightlifting yesterday. I was just gotta get ready.
That's so funny. If you guys don't know, because we have a lot of new Nuggets fans here, Steve Hess was the strength and conditioning coach for the Nuggets for 20 years before Felipe. So a lot of people don't know this, but he was as much a character as anybody in the Nuggets universe because he is 5 feet tall, has dreadlocks, is more tan than Donald Trump, and is stronger and more jacked than The Rock. So he is just an incredible ball of energy. And they had him on.
Is he actually tan, or is that his just normal ethnicity?
There's no way. There's absolutely no way.
He's from South Africa.
Ethnicity, just to be clear.
Okay. I don't know. I mean,
that was a perfect description of him too. I was just I pictured him.
Also, he's like the voice of the legendary video, the Jokic flipping tires in Serbia, that was very infamous and famous. And he's that voice that tells him put and then go inside the tire and jump over it and
makes him want to put his tires.
So you guys got to check out Nuggets Europe. I always screw this up. Is it Nuggets Europe? Or Nuggets Europe?
It's becoming a bit because they started aggregating our quotes from the previous show we did with the Hall of Famer, and they just missed all our podcasts. Someone calls it Denver Serbia, someone calls it it's Nuggets Serbia, just that.
Okay, Nuggets Serbia. That's easy enough. I'll try. There he is. Look at that. Good work, Kale. That's a skinny phase right there. He trimmed down for that one. He's usually.
I didn't know he's an Ithaca bomber either. I see. Another great day to be a bomber. Represent, baby. Let's go.
He might just have a shirt though. I don't know that he's actually.
No.
Yeah.
Did you listen to the interview? Yeah. Come on.
Also, no dreadlocks in that photo. Way to go, Kale. And and again, that skin tone, not an ethnicity.
I like it because it was straight up orange too. That might be his race. No, come on, man. All right, Voya. So let's get back to the game here. We've talked a little bit about Jamal. I honestly don't think we should belabor the point with Jamal. It's a story that continues to be part of the story. Him. He's inconsistent.
Barton.
He's more consistent than I think before, but still working on. He's still not 100% consistent or whatever. But let's talk about some of the other things. Will Barton tonight, another game where he knocked down some shots. The stats weren't working early. I thought he had 20 shots in that first quarter, but he was making a lot of them. What did you see? What did you see from him?
I mean, if he wants to leave, he's building up his price. Like, I don't know if that was his point, just to like if he wants to leave, or is it just to be better as being better? Because he talked about it, wants to work, and he worked over the All-Star break. Compared to Jamal, that seems like he just is still on vacation.
Aren't you supposed to be happy if you're on vacation, not miserable?
I mean, it's miserable to be back from vacation. It's the first couple of days of work after you get back. You're like, I want to be on the beach still. Barton, I mean, it looks good. I mean, it looks like an option. But although, like, when you talked about the 20 shots in the first half, like, he does look like he gets you in the hole a lot of times. Even if he doesn't, like, just the selection, it just sticks out so much that it's jarring. And that's why I feel like the fans get on him for the type of shots that he takes. He's usually with Jokic in the post or on the court. Like, I don't know.
Can I ask you what is your idea of him, or where do you stand as far as Will Barton, the player?
I kind of go back and forth. I really like. I was a defender last year. Like, I feel like he was the one that was the second best player for a while when everyone else was hurt, and we were doing well because of him. And then just with how you kind of got into this season with like the comments, and I wasn't really a fan just from Europe of like, you don't say that kind of stuff. You don't bring it out in the media. And then just how the season obviously started. And again, sometimes he just gives himself a lot of freedom that I think we played well with the kids, Vlatko and the guys, because I think they knew the hierarchy. Like, when you're on the court, like, you get the ball.
That's a good point. Really good point.
And Barton, like, he was the most tenured Nugget with Gary and stuff. So, like, on some level, he has to feel that he's on the same level as Yoke and Jamal.
Just in himself.
And I wonder too Go ahead. You guys don't need to hear from me.
No, I do want to hear from you, bro. I do want to hear from you.
Why are you here?
I love you. Come on.
I was just going to say, I wonder too, like with Barton, I think a part of the frustration is a lot of the problem is part of what he does well at times. Like, you look at this offense and you go, is anyone else willing? Can anyone hit a shot? Will anyone take it to the rim? And so the same thing that enables him to do that is also the same thing that, like, at this stage, the good comes with the bad. Even a good game, there's 2 or 3 possessions where you go, all right, you forced it there for sure.
Right. Can you take us now, all of us? We got a big happy family here. Vogt, can you take us inside the locker room and let us know what the post game was like?
Yeah, Malone was willing to talk tonight for sure. It was not just like I'm frustrated, let me get out of here night. He was asked about the defense where he thought it fell apart most. He said everywhere. He said the play where they missed a free throw and Tim Hardaway hits a layup on the other end. He felt like that was more reflective of the result and really the process of the night than any play. That
was the worst play of the season, I think. Like, that might have been the worst play, because that was just a rebound and like nobody's back and they just throw it over the top and you're like, what on earth, man?
And it wasn't even like a Jokic baseball pass. Like, Luka caught it, dribbled, and then saw Hardaway, and then he passed it.
It was really bad.
I did ask him about the decision to start Paul Millsap tonight and what goes in to where he plays Porter, when Millsap's healthy as well. And he pointed to Monte Morris's absence and just wanting to then, slot everyone down, get another big in there in Millsap. And I was surprised that he actually referred to the Mavericks as traditional bigs, traditional size. I don't know if that's necessarily how I would identify them, but that's how Malone saw it, and so he wanted to match up, and that was that decision.
Did he just call literally the first guy in the NBA that we bestowed the title "the Unicorn" to as a traditional big?
It's kind of true, yeah. That's actually pretty hilarious when you think about it.
He's very big.
He is enormous, man. Like, he dwarfs Jokic. It's kind of crazy how tall he is.
Just not in the way that you think.
Yeah.
Not on the scale.
Right.
In the
for
vertical. Sure. The vertical reach.
Yeah.
And then Malone wrapped up, guys, just by saying he pointed to the lack of series. The NBA scheduled those series into the first half of the season. You play the same team twice, and that's built in there to alleviate some of the pressures of a condensed schedule and all the traveling that comes with it. The Nuggets barely had any. I think they only had one, if I have that correct, in the first half. And so he talked about that as something that's probably going to catch up to them as they enter this ultra condensed stretch of schedule to close the season.
Yeah, I do wonder about that, and that's why it was funny. I was surprised. I don't know if you guys were. Oh no, Ray! I hope you spilled it all over your keyboard.
What is going on?
It was
over
empty.
there, Ray?
It was empty.
He took
finished
one
the
shot.
shot,
We'll,
so it's
we'll be
fine.
like the chat is to us. Ray, you're so drunk, dude. Oh my god, you are so drunk.
You're
Somebody
right.
cut Ray off. He's
Is Ray
so
baked?
drunk. Right
You
that
know,
what's going
too
on?
many vodka sodas. Here I am.
Yeah, the
No.
chat's already going. Who the hell are these guys?
But
who are these guys? These are you. This is the chat.
This
baby.
is us. This is us.
Ray.
They are me.
Ray, the
We are
leader
them.
of the chat. Who is this, you ask? What a joke.
I hope they do harass me. I hope they're like, yeah.
But no, for tonight, I was surprised that Malone put Jokic back in. And by the way, can I just say, one of the great things about sports gambling, it's not for everybody. I'm not trying to pressure if you're not into it. But one of the great things about it is
Terrible
when it's
gambler.
terrible, a 20-point game, it feels
I
like
will
everything's
curse your
lost.
bets.
No, I'm saying when it's a 20-point game, they put Jokic back out there, and I'm like, oh man, this just got interesting. Like, I need one more assist one more rebound
yeah.
from Jokic, and now there's something to watch. So Michael Porter goes from like 4 points to well over the 14.5. It was very entertaining. So another reason to.
No, I totally get it. I believe that it makes it a lot more fun and engaging to be in the game. It's more that me personally.
Yeah.
If I join in on your bets, they will fail. It's not your bets, it's me.
I got
That's what I've learned.
That theory is proving true of this show.
Oh,
You joined the show and
wow.
it's failing.
Don't put that energy on yourselves.
You know what?
let
You
me
know what's
absorb all of
what's
it.
not, you know what's not fun.
Oh,
What's that?
he's gone.
Well, what's not fun is my friends telling me they play Jamal Plus with like at 23, and he has a free throw to hit 24, and he misses.
Oh, that is but I'm telling you, that's why gambling is so great. It makes dumb little moments like super fun. Vogt, let's go back to the locker room though, because I want to hear more about
Sure.
this. Where else should we go?
What?
Michael Porter Jr. spoke with us tonight. He just mentioned there were one too many breakdowns. Said it's just one game. We'll be all right. Talked about his foul trouble and made no excuses. Just said to help my team, I got to get smarter. Once I pick up that first one, I got to adjust the way I'm approaching the game defensively. And then I asked him about his fourth quarter explosion and if that was, a mindset change. Like, hey, we don't have any offensive flow tonight. I am, one of these guys. Can I just change the game here? Should I just get some shots up and make something happen? And he said, no, he was not hunting for shots. He pointed out that multiple three-pointers that he hit in that fourth were actually by design. The team was just looking for him, and he was knocking down his shots. So he said he wasn't hunting. He just didn't want to give up, which I thought was a good answer.
Dev, do you feel like they need to look for him more? I mean, it's a process, but do you feel like at this point there's like a big curve for them integrating him more?
I think that tonight was like a step in the right direction of just letting him play free and just seeing what he can do. I think that they really did make a point to go to him a lot more because nothing else was going, and he delivered. He showed that he could create shots. You already know Michael Porter Jr. could shoot off of the dribble. It doesn't matter. He can catch him. He comes off of the DHO, and he can do everything. I don't know what's going on over there.
It's like too distracting.
Yeah, is there like a crime taking place at?
I think they're closing up the ball arena, fellas. I know they have to get a move on here.
But yeah, so I think that tonight was about getting Michael Porter Jr. in a rhythm and showing that if we go through you at times, then will you step up? Will you shoot the ball? Will you score? And he's been really aggressive as of late. That throw, like when he got stuck into the lane and he cuffed it up and then threw it off the backboard, goes and finishes. That's like just showing the type of playmaker he is, like, and it's starting to come faster. I feel like earlier in the season or just even last year, that's not a play that he'll make because it's so much thinking that he has to do. But now he's out there playing basketball instead of just trying to find how do I feed off of each other? How do I read where I'm supposed to go? So I do think that is going well for him, and he's starting to pick everything up. And now you're starting to see the Michael Porter Jr. that we all wanted to see and the Michael Porter Jr. that he wants to be.
Yeah, I think this is a great point because if you watch, we've talked about this a lot, but if you watch MPJ even tonight, every now and then he'll walk into what is almost certainly a bad shot, but one that he can make, and he goes like 3/4 into the shot, and then like it's like he like feels like a zap in his brain. He's like, "Oh, I'm not just pass it and go down to the rebound zone or something like that." And I do think there's a healthy spot between what Michael Porter's instincts are, which is probably 35 shots a game, and where like an efficient amount of like, and they're right now they're way too far in one direction. But there is a point, and I hope it's coming soon, where it's like, hey man, you are afforded 3 bad shots a game because you're so good at them that you're going to make like 1.3 of those, and they matter. They make everybody, they make the defense never wonder when it's coming. So I like that point a lot. Eric,
sorry,
you're always
Eric,
making faces that are so clearly not in response to the conversation I'm having with you.
I'm,
So what
I'm
was
matching my own avatar.
Yeah, I was gonna say, looking at his picture on YouTube is just
so ridiculous. All right, but what else we got here?
Not much, fellas. I mean, Jokic spoke. He said he's not concerned with the shots Jamal Murray's taking. Thinks they're good shots. They look good, so he thinks they're not worried about Jamal. The only real point I would close with, guys, is Malone spent a lot of time talking about that lack of home series, and then this idea that they flew in from Memphis at 2 a.m. Then they have to come back in and test at 8 a.m. Then they come back in to test around 1 p.m. Now Malone stopped himself. He said, "I'm not singing the blues here. I'm just stating the facts." And another good line from Malone. They weren't eager to make excuses tonight, but look, these are the realities of this NBA season. And I think you could see it kind of catch up to the Nuggets a bit tonight.
Voya, am I getting too old school here? I'm becoming an old man right before my own eyes, guys. Am I becoming too old school if when I hear that, I go, stop. We know. No. We know you came in at 2 a.m. We know you had testing at 8. We know. And you want to know something? Legitimate excuse. But never acknowledge an excuse. You just don't do it because it's like once you invite that in, no matter what you say afterward, it doesn't count anymore. So I felt this way with Jamal, where it was like early in the season when he was like, it's not an excuse, but my shoulder does hurt, and it was a short off season. It's like, well, just stop, just ignore it. So I kind of don't like that.
We do have this assumption that when the chips are down, they're going to be like, oh
yeah,
it's time, let's go. And then,
so you think
they win a game? I was waiting.
You think he's saying all these things to get them into like we're in a corner where nobody believes in us. We got in at 2 a.m. Maybe he's playing that card.
I hope
I don't know, man. I hope not. Like I'm tired of that crap. Like I mean, you're not old in that case. Like I hate it. Now I was gonna come and be like, hey, this is a back-to-back. Like no one should be worried about this. Like I wasn't like I knew this was over in like the second quarter when they had a bunch of like the bad plays and they got to 10 points in it. So. I mean, you don't say it like you're a coach. Like, just, everyone, especially that everyone knows it. It's not like it's an unknown fact how the games are covered now. It's like, it's not us playing a rec league and you're like, oh, we had a game last night and it was tough and we're all out of shape. Like, no, it's the NBA game.
I don't know, though.
I get it.
I understand you don't want to let that in and make that the ethos of your team, like the excuses. But I mean, that is a completely legitimate. I mean,
of course it is.
There's something about saying there's a difference between losing a game and just getting the doors blown off you and just looking inept the whole night. Like it was all energy and effort based, and at a certain point you'd just be like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what. Magical rotations I was supposed to make to suddenly make the Nuggets not look like they were traveling all night. I mean, it's funny. It's funny, Adam, that you as an official old you should be more in tune with this. What it feels like for your body just to have no respect.
No, I'm telling you, the older you get, the more you really do. This is my opinion. The more you do think it's mind over matter, and it's the margin. You just have to win them every little margin in life because that's all you really have. So.
Adam, I am older than you, and I'm saying that the body is weak.
The body is most definitely.
They gave me enough for me to be like, oh, they're only 15 down. Another run here or there.
Oh, that's a good question. Did you feel like they were going to come back when they started hitting the shots? Were you like?
I felt they could have won the game until 3.5 minutes.
Yeah. It would have been it would have taken a big miracle. All right, this will be the last question we can talk about, unless you guys have another topic. But the last one I kind of want to get to, that's a big one. I feel like this game is not very representative of the Nuggets, and I'm not even sure if it's very representative of the Mavericks. But I do wonder, and I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, I'd be afraid of the Mavericks in the first round." The thing about where the Nuggets are, I don't think they're going to be the 1 seed. I don't think they're going to be the 2 seed. If they get really hot, they might be the 3 seed, but I'm not betting on it. I think they're probably looking at 4 or 5, maybe 6. And that means you probably are matching up against a Portland, a Dallas, a Phoenix, a good team. And so I look at Dallas and I think this game was not that representative of them. They're going to be a tough out no matter what. But I don't know if they're a bad matchup. What do you think about that, Dev?
No, I don't think that the Mavericks are a bad matchup. I mean, they're a tough matchup for any team, whoever they play, because they have Luka, and then he just creates for everyone around them. But you go to tonight, they made everything. Like, they're knocking down shots that they don't typically make. Then the Nuggets players that would step up in the playoffs did not. Like, Jamal Murray is going to step up in the playoffs. You would get more from Paul Millsap in a playoff setting. You would hopefully have back your team because right now you're missing Monte Morris, you're missing Gary Harris, who are going to be pivotal in that type time. But also that was maybe Porzingis' best game of the entire season, maybe 2 years or a couple years. I don't remember him being that good. So This was a really good night for the Mavericks completely, and then it coincided with the Nuggets being on the second night of a back-to-back, and Jokic is a little banged up. You just can't base it off of this. It's hard to gauge exactly what type of Nuggets team you get, but it's good to see things that you do have to work on and small things like how Luka's reading double teams and how you're trying to do those type of things. So there's things to learn in these type of games, but we know that there's going to be adjustments on both sides when the playoffs come.
Yeah,
so fun. I love the emotional swings of the NBA season. Last night it's we'll never lose again. We're just swinging to the number 1 seed, and it's like, should we even go to the playoffs?
We got to tank to avoid the Mavericks. Oh God,
what are we doing? And it's a second night of a back-to-back. It's the worst product in all of sports.
That is true.
Unfortunately, the Nuggets strolled into Milwaukee and beat the pants off of the Bucks on the second night of a back-to-back.
No excuse,
Nuggets. Completely unrealistic expectations now.
Eric, I might be bringing you up in this case. I feel like we could be the 1 seed. There's a universe where I feel like this is two-sided.
How many peppers is the scale? How many peppers is this, bro?
They have a bad couple of weeks shooting. We have a good couple of weeks shooting.
Yeah.
I feel like we could. I'm not saying we will, but there's a universe where I could see it.
So I'm going to bet this.
I feel the heat over here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Say, come on,
Thank
man.
you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. I'm going out on a limb here, but yeah, I think we could be the 1 seed.
Yes, dude, mark it down. Ray said it. It's happening.
Ray might actually
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm probably wrong. But
I like this one. Ray might actually be drunk.
Maybe. That's what it is. Maybe I'll wake up in the morning
I said they'd be the 1 seed. What was I talking about?
Voya, do you feel just real quick on the Dallas Mavericks? Are they? I mean, I think they're tough, but do you feel like they have Denver's number or anything like that?
I'm not sure they have a number. There are matchups. The thing is always with Porzingis, his health, and he does one thing well on offense, but that's the one thing that you kind of don't want against us too. Is we have the lob thing that we talk about, but with the pick and pop that he has that tall. For that to work, you have to, Luka's all then doubled if we pop out of the pick and roll. Yeah. But then for him to be stopped, the rotation has to come over, and usually it's not a tall guy that's going to rotate over to stop Porzingis. He's going to shoot over people, and it's just if he's on or off. Luckily, so far he's 75% of the case he's not even on the court, or he's shooting 3 of 12 from the three. He can have a game like this, or he can have a game that he had I think 8 threes in one game this year and had 35 points or something. So, I mean, they're going to be, if they're on, they're going to be tough out for anyone. And it's that's why I hate those kind of teams. You never know. You can hit them on a good, good couple of days, and you can get swept by a weird, Josh Richardson hits the
one thing I'll say though, Jokic is not at all afraid of. On the other end, or Dwight Powell or any of those dudes, So I think that Jokic could, in a series like that, could also be hey, I'm gonna score every time until they take this dude off. We'll see who blinks first. So there's something there. Lastly, I guess there was one other thing to talk about, and that was Campazzo, who I think is a really interesting one. He was a minus 12 tonight, which he was a minus 15, I think, in the second quarter alone. So he bounced back after that, but he had a 6-assist game, played 27 minutes, did not score, did have 6 assists, 4 player fouls. and was that minus 12. Dev, I'll go to you first. What's kind of your take on what you saw from Facu and just where he fits into all this?
I think we saw both good and bad from Facu. I mean, he's not scoring and he's not being aggressive, and the opposing team knew that he wasn't, so they didn't play him the same way. Also, there was a few shots that was on him that there's nothing that he could do. He's at the right spot, but they just shoot it over him. But then you get to see like the great sides of him, like just the finding guys and the fluidity when he's out there. And then also there's just some vet type things that he does out there, like when he pushes it off of Luka on defense. He's also just gets the respect from opposing guys. Like they just know he's a pest and he's going to be on them. So they're just always like aware of what's going on. He covers so much ground. He gets to everywhere on the court, and he's a great help side defender. So he knows where to be. But tonight was just a night that they were making shots that it made it look tough as far as the statistics wise. Like that's why his plus minus is down, just because I mean the backups didn't really have a good game, and then also they made shots on him. But that's not a bad Facu game or a game that you say that he looked bad in. So that's another plus minus game that you don't go with.
Mm-mm. Do you have a take there, Ray, on Facu and where he fits into this?
I have to feel like I think he's a positive contributor. I kind of also feel like he's a little redundant. So, in a optimization way, maybe you cut him out of a playoff lineup. But I can't help but feel like he's still, he finds all the right guys in the right places, specifically Jokic.
Yeah,
he finds Jokic in the right places. And I think a lot like Vlatko, not to drive this into a Vlatko conversation.
Are you a Vlatko guy? Is this?
Yeah, I'm a Vlatko guy.
You're a big
I was
Vlatko
guy, Adam, before you were a Vlatko guy.
I'm not sure I'm a Vlatko guy. So
okay, there we go. Awesome. I'm a Vlatko guy. He makes such quick decisions. I think Facu also just makes these really quick, thoughtful decisions on offense that really find Jokic in positions to score, and I think that means a lot even more than the fact that he's 5'10".
He did have a hilarious contest of Porzingis 3 tonight, where he just ran out and stuck his hand up and got up to about his waist, and I was like, oh, good effort. I don't know what the point was of that.
Sometimes it's like,
there's a guy he might, I don't know, trip me.
Yeah. Well, before we get out of here, this was an ad-free weekend, guys. Win or lose, it's fun to.
You don't want to have the fans do the ad reads.
Can you guys hear? Well, yeah.
Give us your take on Hassel Cattle Company, would you please, Voya?
I love Hassel Cattle Company. If they could sponsor me as well, I would really appreciate it. They're a stand-up company.
Great.
Is it because of the marbling?
Oh. Yes, the marbling is immaculate.
Who's amongst us?
The Green Solution. I don't know if you guys have them as a sponsor. I appreciate them as well.
All right, we got our 3 guests on here before we get out for the weekend, guys. Nuggets on a downer, so you guys got to pick us up. Give us a hot take. Give us a feel-good vibes hot take before we go into the dead of night here, the snowy winter night. Boy, I'll start with you.
Jamal averaging 30 next week.
Ooh.
I mean, 3 pepper. All right. Hey, we said hot take, not a medium take here.
Yeah,
Ray, we need something hotter than a 3 pepper take, man.
Hotter than a 1 seed?
Okay, Ray, you've had enough.
I really believe. I've been saying that for like a week. I've been thinking about it, and I just believe it. So
man, I can't wait till this hits and Ray gets to come and stud on us all. All right, Noah, give us a hot take.
The Nuggets go streaking again. It's going.
Double streaking?
That's the best part about dropping a streak is you get to start streaking again.
If I had a shirt under this, I would take it off. We're not ready for that kind of streaking.
Guys, this is yet another reason. In fact, I have you guys here. We're not paying you to do this. We're not doing that. This is another reason to become a DNVR member. It's not just the articles, the content. It's the chat, man. It's the community.
The Discord is lit.
Sure, the Discord. You never know, what opportunities will arise, especially in the off season. Discord, we try to integrate it a lot into the show. So we really thank you guys for coming on and hanging with us and picking everybody's spirits up after this.
Get a mask. Masks are the best thing on there. Like I wear all the time. That's my best thing from your locker.
That makes me feel good and hurts me quite a bit. I
will say it is just
flag.
logo.
I put the flag just on a black mask.
That's your best work. All right, everybody, right with us on a Saturday night in the Losers Lounge. We appreciate it. We're going to be back again Monday all week. You guys know it. We'll see you then.
All right. When I get to.